The scientific method. A. Observation and questioning. In observation, we use our 5 senses. These are the eyes for sight, the nose for smelling, the tongue for tasting, the ears for hearing, and the skin for feeling. An observation which is scientific must have the same results when done by several people. After observing, a scientist must ask questions. B. Hypothesis. A hypothesis is a tentative answer to a problem or an explanation of what has been observed. After a good observation, questions relevant to what has been observed are asked. The possible answers to these questions are known as the hypothesis. Example: the hypothesis to the problem: what happens when a cube of sugar is dropped in a cup of hot water? This could be: the cube of sugar melts. The cube of sugar does not melt. The cube of sugar disappears. Experimentation. An experiment is carried out to verify the trueness of the hypothesis. If the results of the experiment provide evidence that the answer is valid and that the experiment could be carried out elsewhere and identical results could be got, then the conclusions of the experiment becomes a theory. If the results from the experiment do not provide evidence to the answer or hypothesis, it is cancelled. When an experiment is conducted, an account of the experiment is carefully written for other people to read and carry out experiments themselves. Experiments are reported under the following headings. Date. Write the date when the experiment is carried out. Aim. Write the aim of the experiment. Requirements. List the equipment to be used. A neat level diagram could be drawn in pencil to show the various apparatuses to be used. Procedure or method. A precise step-by-step account of what is done during the experiment is recorded. Indicate any precautions. Observation. Write out what was observed during the experiment. State the results of the experiment concisely and precisely. A final conclusion is made if the hypothesis is correct. Theory. The conclusion drawn from the experiment could then become a theory. A scientific theory is a belief that what was carried out by experiment will hold true within certain wider limits. When a theory has proved to be universally correct, that is universally valid, it becomes a scientific law. So from this, we see that the essential steps in the scientific method begins with observation. After observing, we ask questions. The answers to these questions become our hypothesis. We now have to test this hypothesis by carrying out experiments. So the experiments will tell us whether our hypothesis is true or invalid or wrong. Then from this, our experiments will come out with a theory. So these experiments have to be done so many times, repeatedly, and if we come out with the same results, we then formulate a theory. And the ultimate step in the scientific method is when you reach a law or establish a law. Examples of scientific laws: we have the law of gravity, we have the law of flotation. Try to find out other laws in science.